Well, there's three problems. One, it's a biochemical problem with dopamine in the pleasure center of the limbic system deep in the brain. The second one is it's a psycho-spiritual problem where people hate themselves and it leads to total lack of morality when they're under the influence. And the third thing is it's generally self-medication of some other mental health problem.
So, okay, I accept all of that, but how do you, is the soft approach the only answer? Treatment and holding their hand, telling they're a victim?
No, it's not about telling them they're a victim. It's about trying to, you have to do the biochemical thing, which is to detox them and to help them learn how to deal with their cravings and that sort of thing. From the spiritual standpoint, there is some hand-holding with that. It's not where you basically say everything that you did while you were under the influence is okay. What you're saying is that in spite of the fact that you did all these crazy things, you can still redeem yourself by getting clean and sober. And the only long-term treatment really is either sobriety or, in the case of opiate addicts, sometimes like substitution therapy. But anyway, that's a whole hours-long discussion.
No, it's an interesting topic. I have a much more draconian view of weakness because I was raised that way. Am I all wrong that being tough on addicts may be part of the solution? Why is everything so touchy-feely that, treatment and this and that? All right, I'm sure it has a role. How about plain old toughness?
Well, toughness works to a certain degree. The problem with toughness is that most people don't understand that addiction only affects about 10% of the population. So if you got the genes for addiction, you're really kind of messed up in terms of having people understand why it is that you became an addict in the first place. There's tons of people.
Let me intervene with the question. You're a treatment doctor, and I respect what you do. I am not a treatment doctor. I know almost nothing about it. However, I've been around drugs my whole life, ever since high school. They were everywhere around me. Some of my friends became drug addicts, very few of them. Most did not. How do you explain it? All of us had similar personalities in one way or another. That's number one. So you say there's a genetic component. I would say there are other components as well. But let's look around the world for a minute and try to be rational. Which nation on earth has the lowest rate of drug addiction in the world, and why? I think we have to start from the top. Why would a nation that probably executes drug dealers have the lowest rate of drug addiction? It's pretty evident why. Because people are afraid to deal drugs to begin with.
I have a daughter that lives in Singapore, and again, if you deal drugs there, you get executed, and so there's not a lot of drugs on the streets. And I don't have any problems with that as far as getting drugs off the streets. I think that would be a great idea. The thing is that if you can keep people from using in the first place, then you don't have to worry about the gene being manifest. So there's a lot of people who, like I said, never become addicts because they're not exposed to the drugs, which is a great thing. But for people who do get exposed to the drugs, and we're exposing people at younger ages and more, then you see more addiction because, again, out of the 10% of the people that carry the gene, the more you expose them to the drug, the more likely you are to have more addicts.
Why do you think that New Hampshire has such a high percentage of drug addicts proportionate to the population? It wasn't like that a long time ago. How did New Hampshire become a nation of a state with such a high rate of drug addiction? Do you think?
I mean, again, people